Hello everyone, this is R.S. Miller at the endtimenews.org and today is May 16th, 2013. Israel warns Russia that missile sales to Assad could trigger war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly warned Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday that Moscow's sale of a sophisticated missile defense system to President Bashar Assad could push the Middle East into war. Netanyahu, who flew to meet Putin for emergency talks in the Black Sea resort of Sochi, told the Russian president that the S-300 had no relevance to Assad's civil war battles against rebel groups and urged Moscow not to deliver the systems, Channel 2 reported on Wednesday night. He said that if acquired by Assad, the S-300, a state-of-the-art system that can intercept fighter jets and cruise missiles, is likely to draw us into a response and could send the region deteriorating into war, the Channel 2 report said. Israel warned Syria to stop sending arms to Hezbollah. Israel is warning Syria to stop transferring advanced weapons to Islamic militants and hinted it is considering more airstrikes to achieve this, the New York Times reported on Thursday. Israel is determined to continue to prevent the transfer of advanced weapons to Hezbollah. The transfer of such weapons to Hezbollah will destabilize and endanger the entire region, an Israeli official told the paper. If Syrian President Bashar al-Assad reacts by attacking Israel, or tries to strike Israel through his terrorist proxies, the official said, he will risk forfeiting his regime, for Israel will retaliate. The report goes on to say that Israel twice last week carried out airstrikes near Damascus. Attacks, a senior Israeli source said, were aimed at preventing the transfer of sophisticated weapons to Hezbollah, the Lebanese ally of Assad, and Israel's arch-foe, Iran. A rocket fired on the Golan Heights was not an accident, said a terrorist group. A Syrian group took responsibility for the firing of 2 mortar shells at Israel Thursday morning. The rockets were fired at the Hermon ski site. No one was injured and no damage was reported. This is the first time since the beginning of the civil war in Syria that the Hermon was targeted. The upper section of the Hermon had been closed to visitors, but the lower section was still open, officials said. The IDF has increased its patrols and surveillance in the area. The Jerusalem Post reports that an unknown Palestinian group, the Abdul Qadar al-Husani Brigades, on Thursday claimed responsibility for firing the rockets at an Israeli observation point in the Golan Heights to mark Nakba Day. We are avenging all our martyrs that we lost in our war with the Zionist enemy, the brigade said in a statement. 5 U.S. soldiers have been killed in a bomb blast that hit a convoy of vehicles transporting foreign forces in the Afghan capital, Kabul, according to Press TV reports. Afghan police sources said the powerful explosion took place in the industrial zone of the city at around 8 a.m. local time on Thursday. Dozens of other people were also injured in the strong blast, which shook surrounding buildings, breaking windows and causing panic in the area. According to Debka file, at least 6 Afghans were killed, including 2 children, and around 30 or more were injured when the explosives-packed car was blown up by a suicide bomber next to 2 foreign military vehicles Thursday in the Karta-e-Naw district of Kabul. NATO confirmed that one of its convoys was hit. The force of the blast also destroyed several houses. In an RT.com report, the explosions took place in the industrial zone of the capital at about 8 a.m. local time. The suicide bomber attacked the convoy with a car packed with explosives. According to local officials, the blast was powerful enough to set nearby buildings on fire. 14 people died and 37 were wounded, according to the Afghan Health Ministry, which also added that some of the bodies were unidentifiable. 6 were Americans assigned to NATO, 8 were civilians, and 2 of them were children. H1N1 virus found in marine mammals for the first time. U.S. researchers said Wednesday that they have detected for the first time the H1N1 virus in elephant seals off the coast of central California. The H1N1 strain is the same one that emerged in humans in 2009, and it's the first report of that flu strain in any marine mammal, researchers at the University of California, Davis, reported in the journal PLOS One. We thought we might find influenza viruses, which have been found before in marine mammals, but we did not expect to find pandemic H1N1, said Tracy Goldstein, lead author of the study. This shows influenza viruses can move among species. Between 2009 and 2011, the researchers tested nasal swabs from more than 900 marine mammals from 10 specific species of the Pacific coast, from Alaska to California. They detected H1N1 infection in 2 elephant seals and antibodies for the virus in an additional 28 elephant seals, indicating more widespread exposure. Neither infected seal appeared to be ill, indicating marine mammals may be infected without showing clinical signs of illness. The researchers said the seals tested negative before they went to sea in early 2010, but they tested positive when they returned from sea in spring 2010. They suspected that exposure occurred in the seals before they reached the land, either while at sea or upon entering the near-shore environment. The researchers advised people who handle marine mammals, such as veterinarians and animal workers, to wear personal protective gear in a bid to avoid the possibility of infection. In Ezekiel chapter 38, starting at verse 3, says, "And say, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Micek, and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks into your jaws, and lead you out with all your army, horses, and horsemen, all splendidly clothed, a great company with bucklers, shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya are with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all of its troops, the house of Togarmah from the far north, and all of its troops. Many people are with you. Prepare yourself and be ready, you and all your companies that are gathered about you, and be a guard for them. After many days you will be visited. In the latter years you will come into the land of those brought back from the sword, and gathered from many people on the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They were brought out of the nations, and now all of them dwell safely." Friends, we are living in the last days, and the signs of the times are all around us. Although Ezekiel 38 has yet to be completely fulfilled, it is certainly a work in progress and will come to fruition in the not-too-distant future. In Zechariah 12, it tells us that Jerusalem will become a burdensome stone for all peoples. "Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of drunkenness to all the surrounding peoples, when they lay siege against Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall happen in that day," which is speaking of the last days, "that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all peoples. All who would heave it away will surely be cut to pieces, though all nations of the earth are gathered against it." Is this not what's happening now? The dispute over so-called Palestinian lands, which also include parts of Jerusalem, has caused the peoples of the world to form opinions and to take sides. Unfortunately, most are taking sides against Israel, just as it was prophesied. The Battle of Armageddon, which is what all of this is leading up to, is not as far away as some might think. In Joel chapter 3 verse 2, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land. This is God's judgment on the nations for how they dealt with Israel, and the dividing of God's land. Currently, the world's insistence that Israel be split into a two-state region is going to bring about that great and terrible battle. And finally, in Zechariah chapter 14, starting at verse 12, it reads, And this shall be the plague with which the Lord will strike all the people who fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall dissolve while they stand on their feet. Their eyes shall dissolve in their sockets, and their tongues shall dissolve in their mouths. Folks, in case you hadn't noticed, that's a near perfect description of what takes place at the epicenter of a nuclear blast. It is going to be the plague that the Lord uses against those who fought against Israel, and it is going to take place well within our lifetime. Are you saved? Follow the link in the box below and pray the prayer of salvation with a sincere heart, and you will be saved. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. That's in John 3:16. God bless you all.